Here we have fantastic wealth, you know, and we have the technological possibility of making everybody on Earth the enjoyer of an independent income. We can't do it because people say, where's the money going to come? Because they think money makes prosperity. It's the other way
Hi
around.
everybody, this is Ben Green, and I'm here with my two best friends,
Jermaine Sneed.
and you are listening to Screen Chasers. This is 3 Pump Chumps, and we just saw the movie Breaking Dawn Part 2, which is about...
Well, as we said in Minutemen, this is normally the part where I would get into the synopsis of the film and who it stars. But as this is Part 2 of Breaking Dawn, the 5th movie in the franchise, we're going to skip on past that because if you don't know what it is, just go ahead and turn this thing off. Back to you, Ben.
Alright, gentlemen, the first thing I think we should probably talk about is the overall story, because this is the final movie of this series. Jermaine, the story of this film, which is a sequel to, you know, Breaking Down Part 1, your thoughts?
Horrible story. Horrible storytelling. Horrible writing. Should I go any further?
If you want to, buddy, it's up to you.
All been said and done. To be quite honest with you, I'm not a huge fan of the books as well. And yes, I have actually read the books, which I found out half the audience that I was with did not.
Whoa.
I'm going to go ahead and call some people out here.
Zing.
And, you know, with all that being said and done, look, they did a much better job as far as this movie goes with everything else except the story. To me, every Twilight, it doesn't even intertwine. They always find a new subject to move on to. Something randomly happens that makes everything go haywire, and they have to deal with the vampire government or whatever you call them.
That's, you know what? That is something I got to point out.
Yeah.
There's lots of really forced, arbitrary, like what you would call plot points in a screenwriting class.
We call those plots.
Yeah, those are plot points when the cousin that's been missing for years suddenly pops up and causes a mischief. That's a plot point, and it's forced, and I personally don't care for it. Anthony, what do you think about the story of this movie?
There was a story of this thing?
So I was told.
Okay.
That's what Ben told me earlier.
I thought there was, wasn't it? You know,
You told us to talk about it.
albeit a weak one, but there is something, right? Like,
I'm going to say this. As far as Twilight goes, me personally, Twilight to me has been a bane on my existence. Like, this thing just needed to go away. I don't even know why I censored myself just then. Fuck this movie. Fuck this story. And fuck Stephanie Myers for making this bullshit and making me have to suffer through it for the last 7 years.
oh, yeah.
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 Fuck that. So, yeah. You want to talk about the story of this thing?
Yeah.
Very simple. Riddled like Swiss cheese with plot holes. This thing is stupid. It made no sense. It fumbled all over itself. Shittily directed, shittily written, shittily produced. However, with all that being said, I will say that this was the best movie in the franchise. And if the rest of the franchise would have been like this, I probably would have seen the rest of them and not had too much to say. Just been like, it's not that great, but whatever.
I would have tolerated the entire series.
Yeah.
It would have all been like this.
But it's still better than Tyler Perry movies.
And Carson's going to kill you.
Carson Jenkins at Facebook / what the fuck ever.
Where's your shit talking now, buddy?
Damn. Carson, Ben called you out.
Yep.
Like a ballz.
I just did. Lots of empty characters, lots of like, there's not any motivation for anything to happen. It's people just do things, and it doesn't make any goddamn sense. I don't know, and it doesn't resemble real life in any way. I mean, okay, let's talk about there were some good points to this movie. Like the other movies in the series, I was like, these are all just crap or whatever. But no. This movie had some good points. What do you guys think about what's some of the positive things about the movie? Before we get into the negative, real hard positive.
Well, despite the CGI, and I know we're trying to focus on the positive of this, there are positive aspects to this film. One of the things is, visually, to me, this movie was way more appealing than any other ones. It was like, it was a pretty film, and I wasn't bored through this movie. I was visually entertained. So I gotta give them that. The other thing that I have to talk about, and this is something that's gonna stir a little bit of a ruckus here, not the final scene to the movie, but the big climax of the movie, for about 4 to 5 minutes, this movie makes you forget that it's a Twilight movie.
For sure.
Not the real climax, sir. Spoiler alert, people. Put it up on the screen.
No.
Put it up on the screen. Spoiler alert.
You better do this for like 10 seconds.
Alert, alert, alert. Not really the climax. I'm sorry you got excited, gentlemen. I'm sorry. But
I was excited.
I was too, Jermaine. I was very excited because I saw someone's head get ripped off from their upper jaw, which was pretty amazing.
It's pretty nice.
I love that sequence. That's the one I want to talk about. The battle sequence, quote unquote. That's what I love. This big green here, I thought that was great. I mean, I actually genuinely enjoyed that.
Yeah.
And I thought, visually, I don't think this film was as well done visually as the previous one. The problem is, though, that the previous one didn't have a story, but had powerful symbolism and visuals, where this one had pretty good visuals, but it had some kind of story happening. Jermaine, what do you think? Any positive thoughts about this movie?
You guys know the best part about this movie. The fight scene it's pretty good. I mean, it's a very good fight scene. I enjoyed watching the fight scene, and for the first time in Twilight history, and I watched every single one of these movies, I felt the drama of the movie.
Yep.
Something was at stake, right?
Something was at stake, and I felt like something bad could actually happen.
Yep.
Not any teen angst, oh my goodness, I felt drama or whatever, I felt English. I mean, real lives were at stake and people were dying. I love that part of the movie.
In the previous films, I would say you're correct. They did pretty much fail drama.
They
and
failed
that's a
completely.
big, yeah.
And I felt myself, forgive me for saying this, guys, I felt myself getting into the movie and caring about what actually happened to the characters. So A+ for that.
You know what? You bring up a good point. As far as the characters go, I want to say this. I really thought that the characters of Bella and Edward in this movie, man, they really come into their own as absolute douchebag dicks in this movie. I'm like, it's not like that I disliked them as characters that much in the previous films, but this one I'm like, they're just straight up assholes. And the only characters that I really cared about was her dad, who was just trying to be a fucking dad, and Jacob, basically.
Sharkboy.
Sharkboy, Taylor Lautner. I was like, you know what? Even though I'm going to get into his shit in a minute, but I was like, I actually cared about him because he was trying to do something good, and he had obstacles, whatever. Other characters were just, vampires were dicks.
Well, look, real quick. Just real quick. It's because Edward and Bella are some selfish assholes.
Yeah, they suck. Here's my thing.
Totally.
Okay, you just defended Jacob and said he was one of your favorite parts of this movie because he actually tries to do the right thing. You know what? Fuck Jacob, and this is why. Because he's the one that decided he wanted to fall in love with this self-absorbed little douchebag chick, Bella.
He said he didn't have control over it.
Okay.
He said,
Stephanie
we
Myers,
wolves don't have control over it.
Stephanie Myers.
The movie.
Okay, so this is what I'm... Okay, spoiler alert.
Good. Spoiler alert. Coming up.
I need like 10 seconds for this one. Spoiler alert. Okay, Stephanie Myers. Now, if you're going to try and pretend that Shark Boy is attracted to the unborn child in Bella, a.k.a. Edward's nutsack still, because he's still sperm, you can go fuck yourself. That's bullshit writing.
It is bullshit writing.
Well, it's lazy writing and it's bullshit, and she made millions of it, but that's not the point.
Who cares?
Okay. This is something that made me genuinely uncomfortable, and it upset me. There is an aspect of pedophilia to this movie, and I'm talking about genuine pedophilia, where he is, and he says he has no control over it, which I'm sure lots of people in prison say the same thing about their acts. He has no control over the fact that he has, quote-unquote, imprinted himself, connected himself mentally, physically, whatever, with this baby who's growing at a crazy rate or whatever. And initially I was thinking he's like a guardian. He's going to protect this kid. And that way I was okay with that. But then he's making her bracelets. He's like doing romantic things for this child. What's going to happen?
It got
in 7 years.
And they tried their best not to really force it until the end, until you saw her really grow up. But I'm sorry, I knew.
Taylor Lautner is an actor. tried to make it as cool as possible, but the situation, the story, it just, you can't avoid that. It was like, fuck, man.
He looked uncomfortable.
He
dealing
did.
with the situation.
I think
Everyone
as an
did.
actor, I think he was like, man, I know what this implies, but how can I pull this shit off?
Okay, on this subject, the idea of her growing up and he being her protector, and then eventually becoming being one with each other, and they're being connected at the soul. That's a really cool subject.
Yeah.
The way that it was handled in this
The way it
film,
was handled.
it was force fed. Like it was just like,
yeah.
bam. You know, we don't have enough time because we have to wrap all this shit up. We're not going to give you the whole wrap up of what's going to happen with this. We're just going to shove it in your face from the last movie and throughout the entirety of this film. And so it made it really, really, really creepy.
Yes,
It did, you know, and I know, like,
Cool concept, disgustingly portrayed.
I'm sure the director and the actor tried to really, you know, make that shit work, but, well, it came off really weird, guys.
It really did. It really did. What was I touch on?
Yeah, well,
CGI baby.
CGI.
Yeah, that was disgusting.
All right. Anthony, what did you think about some of the CGI aspects of this film? Because they use quite a bit. Like, what do you think?
CGI fails in this. You know what? One cool thing I will say about the CGI in this film: the wolves. I refuse to call them werewolves. Fuck that. They're not werewolves. The changelings or whatever. The hell, what are they called? Book reader.
It's not changed. Go ahead.
Whatever.
Yes, that
the
works.
wolves. Good job.
Yeah.
They actually stepped it up. They look like wolves.
I
It was
liked
nice.
them in that movie. I would say I thought the wolf pack was really cool. The guy that had like the white patch on his eye.
The one
That-
with two different color eyes.
Yeah.
That was my favorite. I called it. I go. That's my boy.
It's the best
right
job
there."
they've ever done with the wolves.
Yeah, they did a great job with the wolves.
Yeah.
Now, back to the bad parts. The running sequences
Ugh.
still look retarded.
Yes.
Anything to do with any kind of power that has something to do with the body moving looks retarded.
What is this, like fucking kung fu hustle over here?
Yeah.
Like, what the hell, man?
Exactly. It was awful. With the kind of money that you can throw at a Twilight movie, this is the CGI you produce. This freaking I Am Legend quality CGI creatures. Oh my god.
You had to attack I Am Legend?
CGI and shit. Fall on your sword,
All
sir.
right,
This
all
is
right.
terrible. Now. Sorry, Will.
We love you, Will.
We do. I even like that movie. Go ahead.
Okay. CGI. But I'm sorry. The thing that takes the cake is in CGI, and no, I don't mean Kristen Stewart's makeup and facial expressions in this movie CGI. I'm talking about this weird ass little half-breed vampire human kid.
Oh, creepy as hell.
This,
Ugh.
oh, everything about this child sucked in this movie.
Hate CGI babies. They're creepy.
Worst thing about this movie,
Ugh.
dude. No. There's creepy CGI babies, and then there's whatever the hell this thing is.
Ugh.
It was
Oh.
bad.
With
I
the-
agree.
The tiny little face. and,
Yeah,
like, it
the
wasn't
face
even-
that didn't really match up with
Whoa.
the head. I'm like,
Whoa.
ugh. Every single scene this thing is in. I literally at one point forgot where I was, and that thing popped up on the screen, and I was like, ugh! Like in the middle of the audience, ugh!
If-
People looked at me, and I was like, fuck you.
If that baby touched my face,
I
I
would
would
slap it.
vomit.
Don't touch me, you little
Yeah,
shit.
what pop? Jermaine, there were some really exciting moments in this movie. You have anything to say about any of those?
I loved how they brought X-Men to Twilight.
Oh shit! X-Men was in this movie?
X-Men was in Twilight, sir.
What?
I had Storm. I had Beast. Okay. Look.
Yeah, but,
You had Colossus.
Wait a minute, what? Huh?
Okay, not really. However, apparently vampires, you have humans, and when they become vampires, their powers become enhanced. Like Bella has this whole thing where she can shield off all other vampires.
Boosted.